Thank you, everybody, for joining the Home Connection podcast. I'm Brian Burjans, National Director of Military and Veteran Lending here at Caliber Home Loans. I am joined today by our two special guests, Adam and Jason from First Rate Financial out of Alaska. Gentlemen, thank you for joining.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Me too.
So, guys, at Caliber, we take great pride in the military. As a matter of fact, we have designated Military May at Caliber Home Loans. So we are entrenched in our culture. I know you all and at your organization take great pride in helping the military. So can you tell all the folks that are listening, why is it important for you and your organization to serve this great community?
Well, I think the military is a big part of our community, so, we realize that those veterans are serving us every day, and we have some big military presence in Alaska in general and in the city we're in of Anchorage. And so they're a big part of our community and a big part of why we're here today, able to do what we do and have the freedoms that we do. So we love serving the veterans. It's a win-win for both of us.
Everybody loves the win-win.
That's what we do all the time.
And the VA loan is one of the most powerful lending products available if you know how to use it the right way. Mm-hmm. And there's a severe shortage of education, I feel, in the military community about how to use this product. It's not uncommon that we'll meet a veteran who's late into the later years of their life, has never purchased a home, didn't know they had access to this amazing zero down tool, and are excited to use it for the first time. And so we're just trying to get the word out there on the street to teach people how to use this thing to empower themselves, their families, to create wealth, and to realize the American dream.
So to that point, what would you guys attribute your success? Because you guys, your organization does a great job, executing on the VA home loan benefit. You guys are the #1 VA producers at Caliber on our wholesale channel. What would you attribute to your success with the military and veteran community?
I would say one of the things, relationships. That's one of our core values at First Rate, relationships. And so we've got a lot of strong relationships with the military in Alaska, especially the Guard. I know you're in the Guard. We are like the only lender for the Guard in Alaska. Like, they all come to us. It's a very tight-knit community. Like, once you get in, you serve them well. They tell their brothers and sisters. They help each other. And so if we help them, they want their brothers and sisters to be helped. And education. We're big on educating people and helping people and looking into the future. And so planning with the veterans. And like Adam said, if you could use that tool, that VA home loan, correctly, you can get a lot of mileage out of it. And so I think it comes down to the relationships and the education.
Yeah, those are the two big things. That's exactly what I was going to say as well. We like to get on base. We do educational seminars for first-time home buyers. We tell people how to use their VA benefits to leverage that into long-term income-producing properties that will produce income even after their time in Alaska. And then leaning into those relationships, like Jason said, we really actually care about the people that we do loans for. And that comes through in the final product. And raving fans, it creates raving fans. They tell their friends, their relatives, other people they work with, and that just grows our military community.
You bring up a good point about the education piece. And I always, I am a big fan of education. And I try to explain to a lot of organizations out there, especially the ones that, are good at executing on VA, that they have to be champions of this benefit. You know what I mean? They have to fight for these folks because no one else will. In your experience as educating, are you seeing, especially in your market, a big gap between perception and reality of the VA home loan benefit, like unconscious bias, myths, etc., when you're out there educating, like the real estate community, for example?
Actually, no. We are, like, even as a community, as a town, as a state, we are very pro-military. And so we do not get pushback from the real estate agents, the sellers, or anyone else. We are a pretty pro-VA community up here.
Alaska's probably a little different. It's small. Like, the state is huge, but it's small. It's a small community, and military's everywhere in Alaska. So it's a big a big supportive community for veterans, especially in the real estate community. We get no pushback in that regard.
If anything, I'd say that the eyes that we open the most are the veterans that are coming to Alaska for the first time. And a veteran coming to Alaska as active duty, you're making way more money up here. Your house allowance is probably way higher than it was before, wherever you came from. And we get a COLA, we get a cost of living allowance. And so a lot of people, when they're rolling in, have got another $2,000 of disposable income that they didn't have when they were coming up here. So if anything, we're educating, those active duty service members as they arrive in Alaska, how much financial might, power, and potential they have.
So you mentioned before, and that's great because I love to hear that because unfortunately outside of Alaska, right? I'm sure you guys have heard the stories. It's such a competitive market out there that you unfortunately have the real estate industry, especially the listing side, advising sellers not to take VA sales contracts, due to various reasons. I like to chalk it up as unconscious bias slash perceptions of what the VA customer looks like, because the reality is if you took the national average of FICO scores and everything else from the VA side of it, they look like your prime borrower. They look like the prime customer today, right? And unfortunately, they're just not getting a fair shake at home ownership. So it makes me absolutely thrilled to hear that Alaska's got it right. And it sounds like it's an extremely very patriotic state, which is awesome. And that you two are ginormous, champions of this benefit. So switching courses just a little bit, we talked about education, you talked about relationships. So I think this is a good segue into how do you guys get involved in the community itself? Like, how do you guys develop relationships or give back to the military community in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, sure. So like one of the biggest ways we give back is, I told you we started in 2005. I started the company in 2018. I gifted 2/3 of the company, a third to Adam, a third to my other best friend, Justin. And we started something called the First Rate Foundation in 2018 as well. And so every time we close a loan, we put a percentage of the proceeds in that foundation. And we're using that foundation to give back directly to people in our community, sometimes to organizations, but we want to be connected to the need through team member, referral partner, or client, and we want to have a sizable impact. And last year we funded that foundation with over 95 grand. This year we're on track to fund it with 160 to 200 grand, and we're giving all the money away, all of it to the community, all of it to individuals in the community, most of it, some to organizations that support the individuals. And we have a lot of things that are military related. Like one of the biggest things we did last year was a veteran who had, his daughter ended up in the hospital after an asthma attack on a fishing boat, couldn't get to the hospital in time, ended up in a vegetable state. He couldn't get in the hospital because of COVID. So he was stuck outside the hospital, camped outside for days. Someone here was connected to him, got connected to him, and we made a big donation to him so he could bring her home and so he could care for her. But we do lots of things like that throughout the year, and a lot of it is connected to the military. So it's been a big win for us, big win for the community. And it's one of the biggest ways we give back.
That's unbelievable, and that's fantastic because anytime you can have what I call skin in the game, and people can see their money hard at work, and you get buy-in. It's a culture thing. The community can gravitate around that stuff, and I mean you're obviously impacting real lives. I mean that's fantastic. That's fantastic to hear because. Not too many organizations do that stuff, they don't really get that.
Like, so when an opportunity goes to the committee, which we rotate every year, it's people here, 3 people in the office, 3 or 4 people on the committee, they pass it, it goes up for vote, and everyone in our office gets to vote for it. So they get to be part of the giving, and it has been amazing for our culture.
It pushes them to look for opportunities, look for needs that they can fill, which is a super cool thing. And we talk about relationships, and so the foundation has been a big piece of that, but also just friendships and caring. And so I did a couple of years ago, I was doing a seminar on base about using your VA benefits to create passive income. We have quite a robust multifamily market up here, and we're a bit unique in that way, where we have very nice duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes. So I have a lot of military members that come up here, will buy a fourplex. They can live there for free during their time in Alaska because the rental income from the other 3 units pays the full mortgage. Then when they leave, they can rent out that 4th unit, create passive income. And so we were doing the seminar. I met this guy who was an F-22 pilot. We became friends right away, ended up doing a mortgage for him. It was very successful. He's happy with it. He introduced me to a number of the other members of the squadron. I ended up doing loans for 2 more of them, so 2 more F-22 pilots. We hit it off. They're all great guys. They invited, actually at that point, Jason and I threw a party for the whole squadron. We said, hey, let's get all those F-22 guys up to Jason's house. He's got a beautiful house up on the hill with a view. And so Jason cooked filet mignons.
We had like 24. We served 24 dinners.
Yeah.
All steak, making drinks all night. Had a great time.
We did.
It was a blast with all of them.
Yeah, I'm kind of a cocktail nerd, so I was back there shaking drinks and just serving, man. Like we were there to show them a good time, to give back and just to be close to them and make friends. So we had a blast. And then the next week, they invited us onto base and gave us a tour of their facility, their hangar. We got to get up and close with the planes, and they showed us all about the missile systems and everything else. And it was a super cool thing, you know?
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's relationship building at its finest, my friends. That is, that's taking it a bunch of levels deep right there. That's awesome.
They ended up giving us an American flag that was flown over Iraq. They presented it with us, and I've still got it today at my home. It's a beautiful thing, and those are the relationships that we're really all about, where we can give back, we can help people, we can teach them things, and we can have fun and have a good time doing it.
Yeah, so we've got a big pararescue squadron up here.
Yeah.
Every last rescued at some point, it seems. And so I used to do all the loans for those guys. I made friends with the chief and everybody, and they would bring me out there, show me all the cool gadgets that they pushed out of airplanes and everything. And I turned that business over. We all turned our businesses over when we stopped doing loans in 2018. And the guy turned it over to his Barkley Raider, and he's like an extreme triathlete. And so he got in great, obviously, he clicked with those guys, and now he does all the PJ loans. Well, he's leaving today with 2 of the PJs to climb some big unclimbed mountain in Alaska and trek through the forest. And they've been planning this for months. So, and he just met him doing business with him. So building those relationships still through other people.
That is awesome. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, but it sounds like you guys don't have very many of them because it's a very patriotic area. Everybody's all in with helping the military achieve the dream of home ownership, which is, very important. But do you see any common challenges? Do you guys experience any challenges, with working with military and veterans when it comes to the home ownership piece at all out there?
I hate to be always a glass half full kind of guy, but
I'll take it. I'll take it.
If we could do all VA loans, we would.
Yes.
They're our favorite. They're relatively easy in underwriting. The people are always, they're awesome. They're good folks.
They're stable.
They
got a great job. They got a steady income.
Yeah.
The pay stubs are easy to read. You don't even need VOEs.
Yeah.
I don't know how much easier it gets besides a VA loan.
They are hands down our favorite. Yeah. We would do all VA loans if we could.
Yeah, I mean, I love hearing this because, when you speak to other folks, there's always some challenges and something like that. But it sounds like, Alaska's where it's at. That's what, I definitely need to get there. Okay, so you mentioned it's the easiest loan ever, and it doesn't require a lot. Underwriting's good. I would be remiss now to not ask you what aspects of the Caliber's process, best align with your process.
I think the one reason we love Caliber so much is because they take the time to learn about our market, and they take the time to care about our relationship. And like at a lot of companies, other organizations, you'll have 1,000 underwriters, and you may get one of many of them. We have very few, and we have the best, I think, underwriters with Caliber. They take the time to learn about our market. Our market's a little different. The house is a little different. We've got a lot of people coming into Alaska that maybe have orders coming here, but their pay's changing. Maybe they're not here yet. They don't have an LES. They're not going to be able to get something. You can go online and Google what their pay is going to be. We get overseas COLA. You can go online and figure that out. Well, we have zero issues with Caliber because they know how to do that. And if we do, I just call Melaine. Melaine gets on the phone with the underwriter, explains it, and then we don't have any more issues. So I think just them taking the time to build a relationship with us, to understand the market that we're in, the differences, makes it easy on us.
Like I think we went live, we were talking a little bit about the process and the role that you play with Caliber and getting certificate of eligibilities and things like that. There are some unique idiosyncrasies to the VA loan. There just are. They're not super complex. They're not super difficult. It just is knowing them and creating a process around them. And so we know those idiosyncrasies. We have internal processes, and Caliber has done a good job of mirroring that. So as we're learning about the VA loan product, Caliber is learning about Alaska. They're learning about how we do business. They're learning about the uniqueness of our buildings and our seasons up here, learning about the Alaska State Permanent Fund dividend that you get if you're a resident of the state of Alaska. So Caliber does a good job of leaning in, being curious, and being a true partner.
So one step further, and obviously, I would have to ask this: what, what would you say are some more advantages of working with Caliber? Because obviously, you guys really enjoy working with Caliber. We do a great job for you, which I would expect for all of our partners. But for you personally, what would you see as the advantages of working with Caliber in support of military and veteran customers?
Jason, I might have different answers here.
Hey, that's good. The more the merrier.
It would be rare. I would say that personally, the big thing for me, and we got to bring it back to relationships again, is that if you do a good job up front on your loan, submitting good, clean loans, then most of your loans are going to go easy. They're going to go well. In the loan game, you're going to have a loan that goes wrong. There's going to be one that blows up. There's going to be one with some hair on it. There's going to be a difference of opinion between you and the underwriter on income calculations. That's just the name of the game. And with Caliber, the relationship and the open communication and the trust that we've developed over the years allows us to tackle those problems head on and get them solved. And so we feel like we have advocates for us and for our community, for our veteran borrowers at Caliber, where we can bring up the discussion around the disagreement, the issue, the problem, and we really truly can get it solved. Whereas a lot of the other big national lenders, you're just a barcode, you're a number, like you're not important, you're not special, there's not a relationship there. And if you have a problem, you're gumming up the gears of the bigger machine, right? And you just get the impression that they either want to steamroll over you or spit you out. Whereas Caliber really takes the time and values the long-term relationship and will help us solve problems.
Yeah, I think that's one of the keys because everyone can do easy loans. When there's no problems, everyone can close them. But when there's a problem is really when it matters. And Caliber cares. Like they help us solve problems. And Melaine, our rep Melaine is awesome. Like we can go to her and know that she's going to go fight for us and solve problems for us. And she's a big advocate.
Okay. So last but not least, you guys have been, around since 2005. You are a staple in the VA sphere. All our new loan officers out there, all the folks out there that are going to listen to this that are thinking to themselves, man, I really want to help and support the military and veteran community. I'd love to, get entrenched in that community. What would be one thing, one from each of you now, so Adam, you can go first. What would be one thing that you would tell a brand new loan officer today who is looking to get involved with the military and veteran demographic?
I would say start with giving. I think you got to start with giving. You got to start with caring. And so if you look at the military community as like, what can I get from them? Like how many loans can I get? I think you're dead before you get going. You got to come from a place of service. The military community is one that serves us all day, every day, whether you see it or not. There are sacrifices being made by that community all day, every day, across the nation, across the world. And I think you have to come with that kind of heart. Like you have to come from a place of service and truly intend to help, right? You have to help people solve problems. You have to help them learn. You have to teach them about their benefits. And if you truly come from a place of service, then you are going to align and resonate with that military and veteran community. And there's a tremendous amount of loyalty and brotherhood. Like once you are accepted into that community and you honor that, relationship, man, they will treat you well. They will stay loyal. They will push their friends and their family members to you for that same level of service and education, right? They want to share the gift, that well of knowledge that they found with people they're close to. So for me, it starts with service.
Yeah, so mine will be a little bit different. I'll just be an add-on because it does start with service. But I think on top of that, you have to educate yourself. So if I was new coming in and I wanted to start with service, I would need to bring some value. And so I would start with educating myself, figuring out how I can add value to the military borrowers. And I think you need to educate yourself on the products, and you need to have a great partner.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, this has been an outstanding, 15, 20 minutes. I definitely want to do this again with you two because I think we could probably have some greater discussions and probably change the course of a lot of originators out there. You guys definitely have the secret sauce. I just want to run over a kind of a snapshot of what we talked about. And for the folks that are listening to this, if you're figuring out why your VA business isn't where you're at, this is the checklist you need to create. We got giving, caring, community, give back, relationships, sincerity, loyalty, educate, and add value. And that, my friends, is why you guys are killing it, because none of that said anything about how much volume did I get, how much money have we made, or anything like that. You've built your relationships on sincerity, on honesty, integrity, and loyalty, which is all the core values of the military. I salute you guys. I don't say this very often, but you guys are truly the gold standard when it comes to working with military and veterans. And I'm extremely proud, and I know Caliber is, to be able to be in business with you guys. And if you guys, ever need anything from us, you know where to reach us and give us a shout out. I want to thank Adam and Jason from First Rate Financial. Thank you, gentlemen. Really appreciate your time today. This has been an awesome experience for me, and I look forward to chatting with you guys again in the future.
Thanks a lot, Brian. We really appreciate it. And thanks, Caliber. Always appreciate the partnership and the support.
Yeah, excited to be here.
Absolutely.
Thank you for tuning in to the Home Connection podcast from Caliber Home Loans. Please see the show notes for links to topics discussed in this episode, and be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Caliber Home Loans Incorporated, 1525 South Beltline Road, Coppell, Texas, 75019. NMLS number 15622. All rights reserved. Equal housing lender. For real estate and lending professionals only, and not for distribution to consumers.